In this episode, we are getting into why so many women feel scared, stuck, or behind with money. And I promise you, it's not what you think. We are going beneath the surface, and by the end of it, you will know exactly what to do about it.
Hey you, welcome to Selfish Me. I'm Cam, a business psychologist and a proud late bloomer who finally stopped living by everyone else's rules. And this is your space to pause, reconnect, and build a life that feels true to you. Because putting yourself first isn't selfish, it's powerful.
Hello, you. So many of us think we are not good with money. But I promise you, that is not a knowledge problem. It's a conditioning problem. Most of us, and I include myself completely in this, have spent years quietly believing we just don't have what it takes when it comes to money. Not enough knowledge, not enough confidence, not enough whatever it is that other people seems to have. And the thing is, we are wrong. And I say this with love and with evidence because our relationship with money is not shaped by how much we know. It's shaped by something deeper and older and far more less visible. Something that has been influencing every single decision we make, sometimes without us even realizing we are making one. So, what is it? Well, our relationship with money is shaped by decades of conditioning. Conditioning that begins in childhood, gets reinforced by family and culture, by institutions, and by the messages we absorb without even being asked whether we agree with them. And as women, that conditioning runs along a very particular fault line. We are not taught to grow money. We are not told to ask for more, and we are told to be grateful for what we have. Today, we are pulling that story apart. We are going to look at where it came from, what it has cost us, and how we start writing something different for ourselves. And I'll be sharing my story with you. And even if the details are different from yours, I have a feeling parts of it will resonate. So stay with me. Before we go any further, I want to gently invite you to pause because I could go straight into research and statistics, and I will, but I think the most powerful thing we can do first is bring you back to you, not your saving accounts, not your salary, to the part of you that formed its very first impression of money, probably before you were old enough to earn any. So let's take a big breath first. Relax your jaw because I bet you are holding it. I do. Let your shoulders drop. You don't need to answer them out loud. Just notice what comes up, including what comes up in your body. Because money is not just a thought. For many of us, it's a feeling we carry somewhere physical. Number one, what is your earliest memory of money? Take your time with that one. Number two, when you were growing up, what did money feel like in your home? And from all of that, what did you come to believe about money? See what arrives for you. I know that sitting with those questions might have stirred something up. Maybe it brought up a memory you haven't thought about in years. Maybe it made you realize that money doesn't just feel like numbers in an account. Maybe it brought up a clarity. Whatever it is, it's okay. We are not here to judge. We are here to explore. And you have done something already important answering those questions. Most people never do. They just keep living by the script without ever picking up and reading it. You picked up your script about money, and that changed things. Let me start by sharing with you how I grew up with money. Poland is a post communist country, and a lot of people experienced real lack of resources, a constant worry that there simply wouldn't be enough for everyone. That context matters. It shaped an entire generation's relationship with money, and it was passed down to us without anyone meaning to. So when I heard money doesn't grow on trees as a child, it wasn't just a phrase. It carried a whole worldview underneath of it. Money is scary, money is hard to come by, and the wise thing to do is protect what you have, not to try to grow it. All the women in my family, my mom and both of my grandmothers, were in charge of the household budget. And they were really good at it, incredibly good. But frugality was the goal. Stretching what we had was the skill. growing, it was never part of the conversation. And I remember the atmosphere in our house when money was tight. Nobody had to say anything. The air just changed. And when my parents went through a really difficult period, when my dad had to close his shoe business and my grandparents stepped in to help with bills, and we couldn't go on to school trips, I understood something in the way children understand things, not consciously, not with words, but completely. Money can disappear. You can lose everything. And if that happens, it is shameful. And that belief shaped everything. For years, I was scared of money. Not in a way I could articulate, just in a way that made me avoid looking at my bank account, that made me feel vaguely anxious whenever I thought about finances, that made me save a little but feel anxious even about savings. Because what if I couldn't get to the money when I needed them? I didn't invest because you're supposed to start in your 20s and I was already in my 30s, so it felt like the window had closed. I was terrified of credit cards because using one felt like a proof that I was struggling financially. Even though the reality is that building credit history is one of the smartest things you can do. None of this was logical, but it wasn't meant to be logical. It was emotional. And it had been with me since childhood. Now, research consistently shows that psychological gender, the beliefs and expectations absorbed through socialization, has a stronger influence on money attitudes than biological sex. This means the difference we observe in women's financial behavior are largely learned, not innate, and therefore reversible, which is a good news, ladies. Now, what I found extremely intriguing is this. Research published in a Journal of Applied Psychology found that girls are significantly more likely to be excluded from family money conversations and raised with the implicit belief that money is a less important issue for them than it is for men. And here what makes it more complicated. When parents do teach daughters about money, it tends to focus on household budgeting and frugality, exactly the pattern I grew up with, while boys learn about earning, building, and investing. So when my brother started investing, no one was surprised. Everyone was proud that he knew how to make money. But when I said that I was investing, my parents were surprised. They asked me how I know what to invest in. But my brother didn't get the same questions. On one hand, that made me really upset. On the other hand, I remind myself that I am dealing with years of conditioning, not with parents who don't believe in me. So I continue digging into research because I have this urge to explain to you and to my parents that women have been socialized to believe they are not good with money. And this is what I found. A Japanese study from 2024 found that receiving a childhood allowance reduced negative money attitude in adulthood for women, but not for men. The effect is gender specific. This tells you just how much earlier and more deeply women's financial psychology is shaped by childhood experience. So if you have daughters, start the conversation now. An allowance, an honest discussion, a seat at the table where money is spoken about. Not in a harsh tones, but as a normal part of life. That's where it begins. I promise it's a small step, but it will have a huge impact. Another layer that has an impact on our relationship with money is this systemic. Women in Europe, particularly in the UK, gained significant rights to mortgages and bank accounts only in 1970s. Which means majority of our grandmothers grew up in a world where financial independence was structured and legally blocked for them. And here's the part that really gets me. Those beliefs don't dissolve just because the laws change. A scarcity mindset is passed from grandmother to mother to daughter. My mom, who is in her 60s, still carries some of that mindset, not because she doesn't know better, because she grew up believing it, and that became her reality. And changing beliefs is not as easy as changing banks. It goes much deeper. And I got some of her beliefs about money too, without even realizing it. I had absorbed her fears, her silence, the constant underlying feeling that there is never quite enough, and that one day it could all disappear. The turning point for me was a conversation with my therapist, Kevin. I remember sitting there telling him that I was struggling financially, that I had made so many cuts, that I was trying to reduce my cost of living, that I just couldn't seem to get ahead. And he stopped me. He didn't talk about budgets or saving plans. Instead, he asked me something I had never been asked before. How was money talked about in your family? And something shifted. I started to see it. The script, the one I had been running on without ever knowing it existed. And one of the first things I realized was that I had only ever thought about reducing my costs, never about earning more. I had spent years cutting back, tightening, making do, and it had never came occurred to me to ask, what if I just earn more? Earning more was an option that simply hadn't been part of my solution to my financial situation. And then the second realization came. Money made me deeply uncomfortable. Not just the lack of it, the whole relationship. The checking account made me anxious. Spend it made me feel guilty. And earning it, actually earning good money, made me feel like I didn't quite deserve it. That is what conditioning does. It doesn't just tell you what to think, it removes whole categories of solutions and opportunities from your awareness entirely. And underneath all of it, quietly running in the background, was shame. Shame that I hadn't managed my money well enough, that I hadn't invested, that my spending had been wrong, that I should have known better, that I was behind. So last year, I decided to face my fears when it comes to money. I joined Female Invest, a committee on a mission to make financial education and investing accessible to women and to help close the gender wealth gap. One of my favorite features on that app is a week in my wallet where women like you and me share how much they earn and how they manage their money. I love it because you can learn so much from others. And to me, it opens up the conversation about money regardless of how much you earn. And the other week, I joined one of their webinars. The special guest was Deborah Madin, one of the most famous investors from Dragon's Den. And she said something I have not stopped thinking about it since then. Investing was made to sound harder than it is, intentionally, to keep certain people out. It is not that you are not capable. It is that system was never designed with you in mind. That's not on you. That is on them. And it's never too late to take charge of your money, no matter your age and no matter your earnings, which beautifully summarize what we have spoken about today. Research shows how we were socialized has a huge impact on our money mindset. And the good news is, you can change it. You can build a mindset that helps you feel better about money, to grow it, to invest it, whatever you want to achieve. And I'll be honest with you, I still have a few unhelpful beliefs about money that are blocking me. Setting prices for my coaching services is something I genuinely struggle with, and that's something I am working on right now. It's uncomfortable, but I truly believe we grow the most when we step outside of our comfort zone. And that doesn't have to mean a dramatic leap. It can only be one foot in and one foot out. Small steps lead to your goal too, and they help you to get there without overwhelming yourself. Let's talk about what to actually do with it, because understanding is the beginning, not the end. And here's one experiment I want to invite you to try this week. You have already reflected on the money story you grew up with. We did that together at the start of this conversation. This is a huge step. Now it's time to do something with it. Have one honest money conversation. Just one. Pick a friend you trust, and this week say something real about money. Maybe share how you grew up with money and what beliefs formed for you. Being open helps other women be open, and that's how we rewrite the stories we were told. If that feels too personal and you want to keep it lighter, ask what would they do if they won 50K. It sounds simple, but I promise it's a fun activity that actually helps you learn how other people like your friends think about money. So start with one conversation, let it be imperfect. It's okay. Now, I want to leave you with this. The script you were handed about money was not written with your freedom in mind, but you are allowed and empowered to write a different one. And you have already started just by showing up today. If you would like a few more practical tools to explore your money mindset, click the link in the show notes to get the Money Mindset Toolkit. It's practical and actionable and super easy to follow. And if you are preparing for your mid-year performance review and you would like to ask for pay rise, check out Money, Confidence, and Changing Rules episode, the link again in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time, and until next week, friend.
Thank you so much for listening. It honestly means the world to me. If something from today's chat made you smile, think, or feel seen, share it. That's how our Selfish Me community grows. This podcast is about real voices and reminding each other that we are not alone. We are all figuring out how to do life our way, and you are doing better than you think.